นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะอิโตปรังสักกัจจังธัมโมโสตโพธิ To stay in Amaravati now for me is 20 years. That very great opportunity for me. I remember before I went to Wat Pa Nanachat, that was 26 years ago, to dream to get out from Thailand as a Thai monk from the countryside that is out of reach and cannot dream about, because the air ticket is really expensive. That for me as a young boy, what I don't like the most to hear when I ask somebody and when I ask someone about how much it cost, and instead of people they say they don't know, they say it is expensive. It quite irritates for me actually. Why don't they just say I don't know? But because at that time we don't have internet. Internet doesn't exist yet, and quite a long time ago. You cannot search from Google. Google doesn't exist either. And when I ask somebody, when they say it's expensive, and I ask them how much, they just insist that it is expensive. And when Ajahn Ratanavanno sent me to California, the first time I met Ajahn Amaro, and I found out that air ticket is expensive too. It's quite expensive. And I don't know where the money is going to come from, how to pay the ticket. And when I moved to England, at the time, America for me, the first country that I went to, I see everything was huge. The roads is huge, and the supermarket was huge. Nobody around compared to Thailand. If you compare to India, you will see that everywhere you have people. But in California at that time, everything is just big, really big, including people. They are quite big compared to Thailand. And when I came to England, I found everything quite cozy and small, tiny, and I felt at home. At the beginning, I didn't understand why. And then I tried to ask myself why I felt at home. And I learned later, actually, I can see what I can eat. Because I can see something green, look like rice, but I don't know what is it rice or not. In America, I can see grape. I don't know how to eat that one, because people say they make wine, and I never drink wine myself, so I don't know how it's going to survive. But in England, I can see green thing, and anything that I saw in America, I'm always ask people, is it edible? And people just say, I don't know. Oh, and what is that tree? What name? What is it? You know that the name of the tree? People all say, the tree. They don't know. That is quite different perception from the Thai. For us, we need to learn what we can eat, what we cannot eat. That one mix with this one, and it's going to be tasty. And how to cook this one to make it green, and you don't overcook, and the color it doesn't turn dark or smell weird. We have to mix something, and smell, and the color, and the taste have to come together. It's not something like just you overcook, boiled, and in Thai, when someone don't know how to cook, they might cook rice and then it turn to be the three kingdom rice or the three kings rice. How it like that? Because on the top it will be too much water and it's going to be really soft, and in the middle it uncooked because it's not proper cook, and underneath it overcooked, it smell weird. And the rice like that, it means people don't have experience in cooking. To grow up in Thailand, when I was in Thailand, I don't see, I don't appreciate much because most of the time it's quite hot. And one of my friends, he just went back to Thailand. Before he went back, he's just afraid of COVID because COVID seemed to be everywhere. But after he went back for a few weeks, he afraid of malaria more than COVID because the mosquito is everywhere as well. And sometimes people don't want to go and meditate in Thailand in the forest. And people might think that it's a very wonderful experience. And you sit somewhere quietly in Thailand, a Buddhist country, that people might think like that, and meditate in the quietness in the forest. And people forget that actually all animals want to eat you alive. That's quite common. And people might like to sit in the nature, nearby the stream. If you never meditate nearby stream or nearby the sea, at the beginning it might be very peaceful, but after a while, the water moving is really annoying, really annoying. And especially the drop of water can be really annoying too. But compared to human being, I think to live with someone next to you and you don't like, that is the most annoying thing that you can think of. When the water drop, if you live in the jungle or you stay in the jungle, you cannot find the water. You might hear the water come somewhere. It's something moving, but you cannot hear. You cannot see it. And the local, they know where the water is. They might collect the water for you, and they might come with a small pipe, like really tiny, small, and track the water down from 200-300 meters and get the drop into the container for you. And the water drop. At the beginning, it wouldn't be enough, just only one small drop at a time. I asked them how can it be enough? They just smiled and they left me. And the water in the big container, at the beginning it dropped like boom, boom. It's not that much. It's tiny, small, but if you live with it for 24 hours, you start to feel like boom, boom. And the water, when it's a change level and they got the wave, it change sound too. It's going to be boom, 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 boom. At the beginning, it's quite all right, but for longer, just I have to throw the waters away, turn the container upside down. I don't want to use water. But later on, water is essential of our life. Right? We need it. So we have to put it back again, and the drop of water come back again, boom, 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 boom. How to live with it? Okay, have to develop another way of do mindfulness with. At the time, I do putto quite a lot, and do putto, 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 boom, putto, boom. Okay, we need another way to do that. Okay, putto, 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 putto. Actually, it worked. I quite have to live with it. And especially in Thailand, around this time of the year, if we move to the hot season with the wind, it means cold season. And the cold season in Thailand we have three season. The cold season, but actually not that cold. It's cold, but it's not that cold. It's just only we can say that the hot season with the wind, because when the wind moving, it cooler, and it changed during the March, April. It moved to another season. To move to the hot, from hot, it moved to extremely hot season. That's why the water is quite important for us. And that's why we have Songkran. Many people want to know why we have Songkran. Is it superstition or not? It's something that is just not Buddhist. And people might think in Thailand we are pure Buddhist. Even my English teacher, when she asked me why you would like, what you want to come to England, I told her that for the Thai, we see the English as a gentleman. She just laughed. She said, she said, I don't think it's longer be like that. And I asked her, how about Thailand? I think Thai people are religious. I laughed too. It's not the case like that. Everything moves, everything change, and in Thailand it changed very quickly. When it changed rapidly, and we cannot remember the old day at all, and then we don't see the value of the old thing. Anything old, we demolish and build new, because it's easier to maintain and cheaper to rebuild. And instead, better than you try to keep it. And when I went back to Thailand from America at that time, I don't understand the word that I saw from that advertisement around the road. That word is called finance. I have no clue, because they said finance. And I think I understood. I understand English quite a lot, but I never heard this word before. And when I try to track down what it finance mean, and because I don't know, because we don't have any information, I asked my cousin, one of my cousin, what did the finance mean? He said it's the place that you just send your car in the finance, for example, and you get money. And then where is your car? And you get your car back. And you can use your car. And why we have money? Because we are in finance. It's just, for me, quite confused. Why? It's quite good. You own the car, and you send the car to the finance, and you get the car back, and you get money. I learned later, actually, you just like send your ownership of the car to the finance. I learned later it means finance. But in Thai, we don't have nance. We don't have that with nan. We do with nan, finance. And then they go, yes, you just borrow someone money, and they have the right with your car if you don't pay it back in time. That is a simple as that. And for Thai, fire means fire. We play with the word quite a lot. Fire in the hot season like this, it's really hot. And Songkran, I think come from Sanskrit. It means Songkran, Sankarana, it means moving the season. And in Thai, when we adopt a new word, we change the pronunciation to be better. Like finance, for example, we never say finance. It's too much, too long. We just cut short finance. And Songkran is from Sanskrit Sankarana. We just use it as we change from sang to be song, because sang is not a good word. Sang it refers to someone who the deceased, someone who dead. We call sang. Sang so and so, sang A, sang B is mean that person already dead. So we use, instead of we say sang, we say song. And song, it become another word. It mean bath or shower, like for use for the monk. The monk we never shower. We say song nam, for example, song nam, and we use for the higher like a formula, like we song nam pra. You pour the water into the Buddha Rupa, or song nam the Kruba Ajahn. You pour the water into Kruba Ajahn hand, or some in Thailand when the senior monk, especially the Ajahn, take a shower, take a bath. So many monks come around and try to scrap your back and clean your arm, your hand, your feet. That is quite common. If you do in here, it will be very funny, isn't it? But in Thailand, it's quite common. When I take a shower with my mom, I always help her to crawl her back and try to help her to do like that. And my mom always do for me here. Because as the children, we cannot, difficult to reach there, and the water is so cold. So what to do? Just take a bath very quickly and finish. And how we take a bath, we only do that for children. Right? We don't do everywhere. When we use Song and Songkran, it comes in the hot season. The way we celebrate New Year. If people ask me where it come from, when I grow up, I don't know where it come from, what it's about. If you just know that it is the season that we throw water to each other. And with the elderly, we might do very politely, pour beautifully. With friends, we just throw water to each other, and it's quite fun. And later on, we got ice. We throw the ice to friends as well. It's fun too, but the one who receive it might not be that fun, but a little bit painful. But it's all right, because children love like that. And now we got the gun with the water, and it's quite beautiful and fun as well. And now we got a bigger gun, very big, shoot, very beautiful, and it's cool. And that the Songkran for me is quite like that. In the old day, what I can see that people just come around another village and play together. They might have the drum, or even sometimes the bottom of the water tank. They just make it as a drum, and people just dance. It's called Ram Vong. A lot of fun, actually. And we play, and my generation, you cannot touch other opposite sex. If you touch her, and you might end up with Mary, because it's quite taboo to touch opposite sex hand. But during the Songkran, that is the free time. You can do so. That is good for teenager. Dream about it. It's cool. Yeah. You can touch somebody's cheek. It's quite good now. Especially when you see children, it's cheeky. Want to touch them. That's how Songkran I see it. When I look back, I see it quite good for people to see Songkran as something just starting New Year, because New Year for us it changed the season from the cold season to the hot season, and do with water. I think it might copy from India, because most of the time we copy most of the things from India and China, and we make it better. And like we copy from holy festival, but we don't copy the shaking head from the Indian because we try to do better. And then the water festival in Thailand, in my generation, is quite polite and fun. But nowadays, if you go to Pattaya, you go to Bangkok, it might be very crazy, but people like it because it's a lot of fun there. People like it because it connects to people. You can be crazy for a while. People don't say anything to you, and people like that. And as Buddhism, we always try to keep something that we found it useful, and we change the meaning. We not keep it as original. We don't keep it like that. Even the Buddha himself, when he do something, he always at the time of the Buddha, the religions at that time they call Brahmanism, and they developed to Hinduism later. And in the Buddha time, Brahmanism is not really they kill animal for sacrifice. It's quite common. Even nowadays in Nepal, I think they still do it for God Katami, I think. Katamati, I think. God, every 5 years, they do slaughter animal. They don't eat animal. They don't eat animal product. They don't eat animal, but they sacrifice. In 2014, I read from newspaper, they sacrificed 300,000 animal in 5 days. That's how they do, because they believe that God Katamadi will please, and God of power will please about this. In the old days too, during the Buddha time, the way to sacrifice, the best sacrifice is human sacrifice. Or if they don't do that, they do asavamesa. Asavamesa is mean they release the 5 really beautiful horses, warrior, and 100 warrior prince, and they release that horse into another country. The horse walk for 1 year and following by 100 soldier, the prince, and if you don't want to have a problem with the superpower country, you need to allow that horse to cross your land. If you're not allowed it to cross your land, you need to fight with that 100 soldier, and basically you have war with them. To live next to superpower country is not always blessing. It's nightmare. We can see it in nowadays. You live next to another superpower country. It doesn't mean that you are welcome. They are welcome you, and they see you as a outsider. You're not allowed to do anything to their country. They just try to get everything from you. The superpower should mean that I have more power. I give something more to you. It doesn't work like that. I have power. I want something more from you, and you are just suppressed and you are lower than me. That's how superpower work. And at that time, if you're not allowed that horse to cross your country, you have to have war. And if you win, it's all right. You survive. If you not win, and they defeated you, and you have to lose everything in your kingdom. So after 1 year, that horse walk anywhere, that they draw the border. Again, this one is my territory. And when the horse come back to the origin city, they kill the horse with 500 horse, 500 elephant, 500 cow, 500, no, not the cow, the bulls and bullocks and the heifer, I think, and all animal. Usually they go in 1,000 or 500 in number. It means the sacrifice that to show your power. They call aswamesa, that the great sacrifice. And when people sacrifice like that, and they ask a blessing from God, ask blessing from a super power, that deity that we never seen, but because nowadays many things that even the scientific people, if they're not in the lab, how many of us can see carbohydrate? Any one of us ever seen carbohydrate by eye? I never seen it myself, but I trust it in the rice, it in the potato. I believe that it in there. And I got vitamin C. I never seen it by my eyes how vitamin C look like, but I trust them, and because the label said 1,500 milligram, and I have to based on trust that this is vitamin C. And because people believe, we believe that what we learn is truth. Sometimes we have no time to check is it true or not. And people might think the one who are religious is the one who is mean that the one who believe in something, believe in God or believe in the scripture, believe in the book, believe in what is said, in the teacher said, and the master said, the prophet said. And the one who not believe, it means I'm free. Actually, not free. The one who not believe, sometimes they believe in something else that they totally don't see that is a belief. We just merely believe. Like I just learned that Lagrange point, Lagrange point number 2, where the James Webb Space Telescope orbit at the moment. I never seen it by my eyes, and I just learned last month before the James Webb Telescope sent to. They said at that point, and the gravity of the three objects made two big objects that circulate each other, there is a gap in there that gravity it not function. Everything hang around there. I learned, but I never been there myself. But I believe them too, that Lagrange point is true. But if you talk to someone who still have the belief that the earth is flat, I don't think they believe that. They will say, no, it's just another FBI or another NASA try to fool us. It's not right. Never have any Lagrange point like that. But for me, because I think by my logic, yeah, it should work like that. Because I saw so many documentary, and sometimes I said when I see space documentary, the sound that spacecraft move along the space, it's so loud. But how can it be that loud? Because it for this space, it have no air to make the sound to travel. But because in the documentary itself, they make a music like it looks so spectacular. Actually, I love it. But I learned later all of them just from CGI. from computer graphic. It's not real at all. But it fixed in my mind that it have to move like that, it have to go like that. That, I would say that is belief too, because none of us never, ever, if we are not astronauts, we never went into space, and they said, on one side, it's really hot. Another side, it's really cold. I just think, how can it be? I have to imagine, okay, in the mountain, when the sun has been blocked by cloud, it's really cold. When the sun comes out, that it's warm. Okay, it might work like that. And it's completely different temperature, very different. That's only my belief. It might not be true, but that's what I believe. And many people might say, yes, it's true, absolutely true, because have you been there? I never been there, but I learned like that. To learn something, sometimes we are too, really, like I would say, like a young monk. When I was young, when I learned Dhamma, everything like Dhamma is absolute. Everything Dhamma is the best. Without Dhamma, you cannot survive. Dhamma is the best. We can say it like that. But when the monk who want to disrobe, Dhamma is not that best actually. Something else is better. But at the beginning, like Dhamma is everything. Everything has to be. Without Dhamma, it's worthless. It compared to the breath. Without the breath, it's worthless. Because we are breathing in and breathing out. Without the breath, we are dead. It's worthless. But if you are living in the world, you cannot just breathe in and breathe out. If you live outside, you need to think about how I get the money to pay for the bill. Breathe in, breathe out alone doesn't work. How I feel my stomach. That breathe in and breathe out alone doesn't work either. And the pure Dhamma sometimes doesn't work if you don't know how to apply skillfully. You might say, the Buddha never do this. Yes, the Buddha never do that. And the Buddha never use telephone either. But we really enjoy using our mobile phone. Quite enjoyed it. But no, the Buddha, in the Buddha time, is not Buddhist way. That's how we might see in the like a really clear cut. And come back to Songkran. Why we have Songkran? And because we come from Thai tradition, and many people might say, I never been to Thailand. I am not come from Thai tradition. I have to say, we follow Luang Por Sumeto and follow Ajahn Amaro, and he ate our sticky rice for a long time. So he become Thai. And we follow from the Thai tradition. We just copy the thing that people like. And especially you see, be around the Ajahn, be around Luang Por, and someone come ask for water or namon. In Thailand, we never do that. We feel like, especially forest monastery, we don't do that. No, Luang Por Chah never done that. But from time to time, we see Luang Por Chah do it as well. Or you go somewhere, you might see the monk do the yantra on the door. It look very beautiful. If you go to Thailand, you see the 5-line yantra. It's spectacular, wonderful, beautiful. Many people like it. If you ask me why people do that, if it have any protection, I don't know. But people love it because it's beautiful. And many people like it. And some people have a lot of big tiger on the chest, big one. Some people have on their head, look like a mantra in there. If you ask me, what is that? I don't know. But it seems that people quite like it because people love something that they don't know. It look palang, power. It got power. It got palang. Rinpoche, when he was young, and he see the young, his friend want to disrobe, and he see like they are crazy, they are stupid. But for him, he said he have a very strong determination that he never disrobe, and his strong determination he want to tattoo his leg, never disrobe. That he want to tattoo like that, but luckily that he didn't do that. Otherwise, he might disrobe long times ago. How a human being might like that. When the Buddha see something is not useful in the old culture, instead of he disregard or just say it bad, it worse, if he not break the precept, he changed the meaning, he changed a little bit of word to fit the idea of Buddhism. He always changed like that, and he used local word, he used ordinary word that people understand. I like when some people approach the Buddha and try to show his knowledge, his views, his titi, and one of them is the long nails ascetic. I think, if I remember correctly, he is the nephew of Sariputta, I think, the Kanaka Brahma. He came to see the Buddha, and he wanted to show his wonderful view that he is a very high person. He looked like the enlightened one, the one who know everything. He approached the Buddha and said, everything in this world is not suitable for me. I'm not suitable for anything. It means that I'm so high, nothing suitable to me. And I'm not suitable for anything else either. For him, it looked like a big man, nothing worth for me because I'm special. Instead of the Buddha say something bad to him, he said, that titi is not suitable to you either. I found at that time, I felt that is a good punch, really good punch, like nothing worth for me. I'm worth for nothing. Yeah, that titi is not worth to you too. It's not worth for you too. I found, wow, that's amazing. Amazing. And then when he sees someone do the yanja or sacrifice, when he sees someone do sacrifice, if the sacrifice is in the right order, he didn't say anything because he is a Brahmin too. He comes from the Kshatriya caste. He know how to do the yanja, how to do the sacrifice. He learned. He quite skillful on that. Anytime that when he sees someone doing in the bad way, he will approach them. Sometimes he even went to see the Brahmin, and in the Brahmanism, if they see someone have shaved head, they see as the bad omen. That's why the Buddha shaved head, because they see like a bad omen. Sometimes the Buddha waiting for the Brahmin to come to do sacrifice. Before they do any sacrifice, the Buddha cover his head, and then when they come, they open. He opened his head to let the sacrifice fall to protect animal. That's how the Buddha approached. And one of the Brahmin, he want to do the sacrifice. His name is if I remember correctly, Ukkata Sarira Brahmin. Ukkata is, from my understanding of my little Pali understanding, I think is the one who quite high, tall, maybe it's correct, Ajahn Vinita. Ukkata Sarira, the tall Brahmin. He want to do sacrifice. Then he want to sacrifice 5 bull, 5 bullock, 5 heifer, 5 goats, and 500 ram. And then in his mind, he start to doubt if I do sacrifice, do I get the good merit, or I got a good karma or bad karma? He start to doubt, but because he's a Brahmin is quite high class, he wealthy. Because if he's not wealthy, he cannot do sacrifice 500 each of this type of animal. And before he went do the sacrifice, he went to see the Buddha, just to make sure that what he going to do is correct and get a good result. And instead of, because he a big man, he big, well-known Brahmin, instead of ask the question to the Buddha, he just announced his view. And he said, I heard if you raise the sacrificial post and kindle the sacrificial fire, you're going to have it come with the good benefit, good result. And he announced to the Buddha like that. Instead of the Buddha say, no, it's not like that. The Buddha, he replied, me too, I heard like that. If you raise the sacrifice post and kindling the sacrifice fire, it have the good result, great benefit, great result. And the Brahmin still think, maybe it's not right. Maybe the Buddha say the wrong thing, because he himself doesn't see the Buddha like his master. He called Bo Kotama. It's like maybe in nowadays might call like Thai way Tan Kotama, like not really special, or Master Kotama. And he say again, I have heard if you raise this, if you kindling the sacrificial fire and raise the sacrificial post, it will bear good benefit, good result. And the Buddha, instead of saying, no, it's not like that, he do the same. Me too. I heard that one too. If you raise the sacrifice fire, the kindle, the sacrificial fire, and raise the sacrificial post, and why they have to raise the sacrificial post, because when you want to slaughter animal, you have to have the post to tie the animal, and they slaughter them to let the blood go everywhere to sacrifice. That's how they do it. And he just start to think, the second time the Buddha still say like that. In the Buddhist way, we say 3 times. And he do again. I heard that if you kindling the sacrificial fire and raise the sacrificial post, it will have the good result and good benefit. And the Buddha, the same way. Me too. I heard like that too. And he repeat 3 times. And the Brahmin, he said, oh, in that matter, myself and Master Kotama agree in this matter. And Ananda, he was there too, and he saw how the Brahmin raised, instead of asking question, he just make a statement. Ananda just say, Brahmin, you shouldn't ask the Buddha like that. You should ask the Buddha in this way. The Master, the Buddha, I would like to sacrifice the animal. I would like to sacrifice the kindle, the sacrificial fire, and raise up the sacrificial post. Would you be able to advise me on this matter? You should act like this. And the Brahmin said, okay, follow the Ananda. And he asked the Buddha according to advice of Ananda. And when the Ukkata Sarira Brahmin ask the Buddha in that way. The Buddha just say, just think about, not even doing yet, just think about the sacrifice animal. You do the 3 bad thing. You look like you have 3 knife before you even doing it. You hold the 3 knife. What knife? The first knife is your thought. The second, I'm going to slaughter the animal. I'm going to kill the animal. That your thought is bad already. And the second one, your speech. I should kill that animal. You should kill this animal for me. That your speech is wrong already. Another knife. The third knife is before you do anything, you let other your servant, your helper to slaughter the animal. The one who start the sacrifice, they have to start the first one themselves. And in that you hold the 3 knives in your hand. And the result, it won't be as you expect. You might think it will be good, but it will be bad. It might think that you're going to the heaven, you're going to hell. You might think that you are make a merit, but you make a bad karma. And he continue further on. There are 3 types of fire that you shouldn't cultivate. You shouldn't generate. You should relinquish. What is 3-5? This one we know quite well. The Ragaki, Mohaki, Tosaki, Raga, Dosa, Moha. This one is quite clear for us. Raga is fire, it's hot, and it's burning. We do the chanting quite a lot. This one should not be cultivated. And we should relinquish the moha, the delusion, the hatred. This one is quite clear. But another 3 fire that we should be revere, respect, and looking after. What is the 5? That 3-5. He play with the word that in the Brahmanism way of do sacrifice fire, they have to face east, and the 5 on the east they call Karaha Patayakni. I think, if I could remember correctly, it means the 5 that they receive the sacrifice from God. They have to face it. And anything from the south, it means our right hand, that from the south, that is called Daksina Kini, Daksina Akini, Akini in Sanskrit, in Pali, Akki. Anything from the right hand side, that is really special because for the Indian tradition, Thai tradition, anything from the right hand side, it means we respect we always let the senior monk sit on our right hand side. That when we face east, the right hand side will be the south. And another one is, I think, if Karaha Patayakini, and this one I cannot remember. Ahawakani. Ahawakani it mean the 5 that you I might miss the order, but it means that in the order, all the household, they have to keep the 5 to continue. That 5 never make it cease. In the order, they respect the 5. In the household 5, it's like that. We have to keep all the time. During my mother generation, we don't have matches. It's difficult to find the matches. We have some kind of rock and hit with each other. We call poke fire maker. That the best I can translate. We have to hit the rock together, and then it get spark and it burn something in the cotton that it burned, and we have to continue that fire. To start the fire, it's not easy. You have to quite skill to do that. I learned how to do it as well because when I start to smoke, okay, that one is quite good, and you might see, okay, it's good skill to have just a rock, especially when you try to hide from your teacher, from your mom, and you get this type of thing, and they don't know that you have matches or sippo with you. This type of fire you have to keep continue. But the Buddha, he changed all the word of that to fit into his own vocabulary. He followed the vocabulary of Brahmanism vocabulary and changed into his own word and changed the meaning and changed how it used it. And for example, when he say daksin in Sanskrit it means south. In Pali, dakina means something. Taksina, takineya, and then something you offer. The offering, he changed to that. And what is the fire of offering? It means who is the one who worked for that offering. It means the one who train themselves, the one who calm, the one who try to relinquish their raga, dosa, moha. That one you should revere, you should offer, you should look after, you should bow to them. It means the samana. That he changed into that meaning. And the one, the karaha patiyakini, what is that? It means that the household five, the household five, who is that? It means the one who live with you, the partner, your wife, your spouse, your worker. This one you should look after them. You should feed them. You should respect them in terms of give them opportunity, give them the thing that you supposed to give according to the household way. He changed instead of sacrifice five, he changed into sacrifice your health. And the first one is ahava keni, ahuneya. In Pali, ahuneya pukkala. Ahuneya, it means your parents. You should look after, you should, because they gave you before and you should look after, you should, in Thai we might pay back, but in the West, might not a good idea to say pay back to your parent. Why I have to pay back to my parent? People don't like it. And he changed the whole thing to be 6 types of fire. The first one is raga, moha, dosa, ki, the third aki, and dakineya ki, and ahavaniya ki, and karaha patiyaki. 6 of them. These 5 that we need to maintain, we need to work skillfully with it, because otherwise the 5 can burn you as well. And the last one we call kataki. Kataki, it means fire from wood. This one can burn you too, but this one you need to learn, you need to keep, you need to use skillfully, otherwise it burns your house. That's how the Buddha changed the meaning from something familiar, something people understand at that time, especially someone who come from Brahmin caste or Kshatriya caste. They know what does it mean. The Buddha changed the meaning to make it useful for his teaching. I think for the Songkran too, people might think, it's not Buddhist. I never do it before. It's not really useful. Here in this country, it's cold. Why we have to pour water and ask for forgiveness from the Ajahn? We do so many times. Look like we have done so many things wrong, right? Because we have to ask forgiveness all the time. Ask again and again and again. Look like you are done something wrong all the time and ask from the Ajahn all the time. And maybe it's not right. But you might think in another way. Let's try it out. I just post in the common room, and in the Bhikkhu Vihara, I just put Luang Por Chah photo and the announcement that the monks made. And another one is the Songkran for the city monk. Underneath, Luang Por Chah way of doing Songkran is people have the bamboo pole, the hose quite long behind him, and the lay people have pour the water behind him, and all the water come to his head. And many people, many men come around his body and try to scrap something around his body. For people here, might feel like, that's funny. For Thai, if you have something from a chancha skin, that is really special. It can be another sort of medallion. And people love it. People love things like that. Even some people might love the leftover water from Luang Por Chah body. That people like things like that. And that one photo. Another photo that is in the city for the temporary monk. When during the Songkran, people will come and pour the water. At the beginning, they might pour into their hand, and later on into their body, and with the baby powder around, and it looked white. For me, it looked quite cute actually, because they are temporary ordained monk, and they not so long they're going to disrobe, and to have the community effort to come and to say hello, to say New Year to them, it's beautiful too. And for me, what I like the most to see when I see the I have opportunity to see people smile. I love it. When people happy, I like it actually, because at the beginning of my monastic life, I think Nibbana, go for it, die for it. That how the young monk think, and after I start to practice longer and longer. Nibbana seems a little bit far. Actually, it's not that wrong. Break precept, pachitiya. Say like that. Say okay, kindness and smile and generosity and someone we can be around that we don't feel irritated. That quite nice actually. To see someone happy, it look like make my whole body happy. And when I think about them, I feel happy during my meditation. When I cannot think anything else, I just say, wow, that's wonderful. Just think about to have Luang Por, to have Ajahn Ratanavanno in the same monastery. That was my dream for many years. Even when Luang Por came back, I try to understand Luang Por teaching. Even right now, I cannot understand many of them. But I still feel like, wow, that's great. I have Luang Por in front of me, Ajahn Ratanavanno. And when I have Ajahn Chayasaro, three of them, 4 times, three Chau Kun. It's not easy to have three Chau Kun in the same monastery. For you, might not, what is the matter? But for us, it's a big thing. It's quite a big. It doesn't mean that I like the title or anything like that. For it dream for many people to have things like this. But many people might see, what is the matter? It's not so important. But for me to see someone, for example, someone who come to decorate flower, if you don't know how to decorate flower, you might see just another flower. Just a big bunch of flowers, just put everything together, it's going to be beautiful. But actually, you don't know how to arrange it, it look ugly. And flower like this, people might say, it may be 20 pounds, but actually maybe hundreds. And when people think about flower, they might think, I pay 200, this big. But if you go to the market, 200 might be about that big. It's not that big. But when people come with their own flower and they take free time to help out, and they have a lot of joy. I like to see that too. I'm very happy to see that. And I come with the Thai perfume, the old man perfume. Nowadays, people don't use perfume like this any longer. If you use it, you look like you come from the countryside. You are the villager. We don't use this type of perfume. We might think channel number 5. In Thailand, we use things like that too. Anything posh from France that we use. This old ancient perfume just to get the smell of Thai New Year. It brings up a joyful memory for me. That when I meditate, I quite like it actually, thinking about it. And when I getting bored, really bored, I just think about how good, how wonderful that I have that opportunity. When this thing doesn't work any longer, I start to recite my Morse code. I learn Morse code. Dida, Alpha 1, Daddy, November 14, Daddy, Bravo 2, and it's opposite of Dida, Victor 22. I count, and yes, and the Ajahn ring the bell, boom, another hour. Quite enjoyable. And go back to my kuti. I have friend waiting for me. I have some badger just waiting. Luang Po, why don't you come back? Waiting there. Quietly, my badger wait there. Why don't I come back earlier? Because they start hungry. And to feed them is quite nice too, to see them, how I quite enjoy to see that, even though many people might not like the idea of feeding the badger. I hope people don't see me as the try to make badger, domesticate the badger, and in the future have a badger in my leash and walk around. But if I can do that, I start to getting closer and closer. One day I might be able to hug him. Oh, quite happy actually. Maybe anyone who would like to experience the Thai way, just come. You are very welcome to join the Songkran tomorrow. We're going to have special Naga tomorrow. Anakarika make it duty to make the Naga beautiful. I request for her to make another smoke and fire and water come together. It may be successful, maybe not. Just to say Happy New Year. That's all I would like to say. I would like to end my talk at this time.